Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. Happy 2023. The Lord is good. My name is Maya Jones, the founder and host of the Empty Your Cup podcast, in which I will share with you how our cups become empty, how to refill them, and rest in God's love for you. Today, my heart is full and heavy at the same time. I'm not sure if any of you have had this experience, but a lot of times in the morning, and I find that especially at night, this small, almost like a whispering voice will pop into my head and bring thoughts and words and songs that I'll just have the desire to look up randomly. This voice that I hear is different because it's very faint, but it's also very distinct. It's unique in the fact that it's not loud. It's not a voice that screams and yells like our parents or gets annoyed with us like our friends or brothers and sisters do. It's a nice voice. It's a voice that brings peace to my mind. A voice that calms both my mind and my heart when I'm wrestling with something internally. If you've ever felt or experienced something like this, I'm here to tell you that that voice has a name, and that voice's name is called the Holy Spirit. And if you've never heard of this voice before, I want to tell you a little bit more about this voice for just a moment. This still voice, the Holy Spirit, is actually a voice that lives inside all of us. A lot of the times without us even realizing it, the Holy Spirit is our guide. It's our compass. For example, sometimes it tells us where to turn and where not to turn on a dangerous road. Sometimes it tells us when to speak and when not to speak, such as when someone makes us really angry or upset. And sometimes it tells us that everything is going to be all right, when even though everything around us may not always be. Yes, this is called the Holy Spirit. He's our inside voice. He leads us. He guides us through situations. And he strengthens us. He gives us the hope that we need to hold on. And I say all of this to you today because I want to tell you that the Holy Spirit will always be with you. It will be with you wherever you go. And listen, it's okay if you don't hear it physically right now. It's probably because you're distracted with so many things in your day-to-day life. But I found that the Holy Spirit will come to you in your quietest moments, in your room, at night, in your bed watching TV, or he will most likely come to you when you're least expecting it. The most important lesson I could ever teach you in this podcast is that God, our creator of heaven and earth, sent his son, Jesus Christ, to care for us, to love us, to show us the best way to live, which is in eternity with him. I'm here to tell you that despite what anyone has ever told you, God is not a God of punishment. He's not a God of confusion. He's not a God that wishes pain on his people. He is not a God of condemnation. He is not a God of shame, of guilt, of anxiety, of fear, of anger, of rage, of bitterness, of malice, of unforgiveness. But in fact, he hates these things. no matter what, were his children. And every question that I've ever had, every fear that I've ever let harvest in my heart, I've found the answer in his word, which is the greatest gift we could have ever received. The reason that my heart feels so heavy today, though, is that I was watching a Dr. Phil show, and the episode was catered to a mom that had lost her child to suicide. And as I sat there watching this mother weep about the loss of her beautiful child, the Holy Spirit spoke to me and put the word predicament on my tongue. I have this saying that I made up where I say, vocab is essential. And so I immediately looked up this word, and a predicament is defined as a difficult, unpleasant, or embarrassing situation. So then I dug a little deeper into the words unpleasant and embarrassing. Unpleasant means to be in a situation that is causing you to feel discomfort, unhappiness, or revulsion. Embarrassing means to cause someone to feel awkward, self-conscious, or ashamed. And so in that moment, I realized that not only was this mother on Dr. Phil in a predicament, but more importantly, we all have been there. I cannot tell you the number of predicaments that I faced in just my 18 years of being on this earth. But no matter what anybody has ever told you, I'm here to share with you that God will meet you in that predicament. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how unpleasant, difficult, or embarrassed you may feel or the situation may be, God, His Son Jesus, and the Holy Spirit will meet you where you are, right now, today. All you have to do is accept Him. All you have to say is these words: Jesus, I accept you. I now know who you are. You are the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, and you died on the cross for my sins, for me, and rose 3 days later so that I could one day live in eternity with you. I belong to you no matter what. I love you, and please come into my life. I want you to remember that you are His most precious gem, and because of that, He will never leave you nor forsake you. And I just can't stress this enough about the God that I serve. And hopefully you will join me in serving today. Today's verse comes from one of my favorite books and chapters of the Bible, John 6:37 through 38. It says that Jesus replied, "However, those the Father has given me will come to me, and I will never reject them. For I have come down from heaven to do the will of God who sent me, not to do my own will." So remember, as you build a life for yourself and others, will you let your cup spill? Or will you allow God to help you fill it back up? As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.